I have an opening joke.
Oh damn! You do this. Do it, balls.
It's been quite a while since I've had an opening joke. So Spencer,
Yes.
I had this idea, and well, let's just start out by saying Colin is not joining us this week. He took a week off. He needed some time, which is very cool. Kudos to him for just being like, I need a week off for no reason in particular, but the fact that I need a week off. This is all well and good. However, he chose the week that literally everything I have to bring to the conversation, I was excited for his commentary on.
Oh boy.
So I would like to play a game where we keep a tally, or we try to just sneak in as many Suck It Collins as we can in the episode, to the point that we even title the episode Suck It Colin.
Interesting.
See who could come out of the episode with more suckets.
Suck my balls.
Buy a comic that might cost more than a dime. Come meet the brothers who are here to waste your time.
Welcome back to the Dime Comic Bros podcast. Suck it, Colin. I got it this week. We're just typically three, but this week we are two broke dudes talking around a microphone about comics and comic-related media and pretty much anything that we want to talk about because this is our show. I am Jacob, joined by Spencer. Say hello.
Hi.
That was your opportunity to say suck it, Colin.
Hi, this week... my name is Colin.
Oh man, what are we talking about this week?
So again, it is funny that Colin will bail on a book that was his idea again.
Right.
But we are going to be talking about the second volume of Lopper, which is Lopper and yes,
Lopper.
Lopper and the Crimson Tower, which is issues 5 through 8. It is the second collected edition. It is, pretty much entirely done by Andrew MacLean again, with, I believe he just didn't do the coloring. So it basically, it picks up, as issues typically do, right where the last one left off,
Whoa.
Crazy.
Wait, what?
So Norgal and his stupid witch head Agatha and their warrior companion are going to a tower to do a dungeon crawl video game. Literally, they're on a quest to go to a tower so they can get loot. And they get distracted by some very cute what are they called?
Pikmin.
Yeah, they do kind of look like Pikmin. Fonga, I think. They look like Colin. That's it. They all look like Colin.
I would go so far as to say they look like Colin's children.
True.
If he ever created children.
Yeah, well, you never know.
Whoa.
Yeah, they give off Colin vibes. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, it's him. It's literally him. But yeah, there's a village. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Fonga. Yeah, there's a village of Fonga. These cute little pink people, I guess. They're like the other creatures, but they have human intelligence. So who cares? They're like maybe 2 feet tall tops. Tiny little.
Like, they're kind of like gnomes or Smurfs or.
They're like little baby men.
Seriously.
Little baby men. So they live near this Crimson Tower, and it's I guess part of their religious traditions or whatever to send off some warrior bestowed with some powers or whatever. Usual, religious hippity hoppity do about something that makes no sense. So we get. I need the book. So we meet Twerple, which is some very strange name, who is one of these baby men. I will only refer to them as baby men. whose older brother is the one who's getting like sent off in like the ceremonial outfit and whatever. He's like, no, don't go. This is dumb. Because he's epic logic and reasoning bro, and he doesn't believe this weird cringe religion shit, you know?
Right.
But he accidentally loses his little brother, Vic, who is seemingly like a toddler, probably. So, so Twerple, Norgal, Agatha, I do not know how to pronounce her name, but the warrior companion from the previous book, whose name I will not try to pronounce because I'm not stupid.
Definitely skimmed over it every time. I was like, yeah, her.
Yep. Them and Twerple and Bick get stuck in the tower. And then they do a dungeon crawl. Legit ass, there's the master of the tower. He has his right hand kind of golem thing. And then there's a bunch of rooms and enemies, and
the final boss has 3 stages.
Literally. Jeez, so burpy. So the warrior companion also brings along one of her apprentices, or ward, the Robin to her Batman, one might say. And they're in there. Slowly people start dying off, as well as the other champions who were put in there. Comedy ensues. They have to get these glowing balls, their eyes, from a automaton. So they have to split up and then do some individual quests of, working through their fears and killing some birds, I guess. And they get all the rocks back together. They stick him in the robot, and then they take that automaton robot to go fuck up the big boss man. This is literally a video game, and I love it.
We should split up. Daphne and I will investigate the bedroom.
Oh, my goodness. Jinkies!
Oh, there were definitely some jinkies that night.
There literally were. That was absolutely hilarious. One of the funniest moments of comedy was when they're like, when jinkies ensued, and then they just like dropped Agatha's head out of view, and she was just bitching about it. That was hilarious.
Oh, my eyes.
That was
actually shoot flame or lasers or something.
Yeah, she's got the magical blue witch powers that are still yet to be explained, but only hinted at because mystery.
Ooh, intrigue. One of the things that I really loved about this book was if there was a complicated sequence of frames, or if it was all one picture and you had to track the action going on, there were numbers or arrows to tell you which order to look at it so that you knew what was going on.
Yeah.
That was lovely. There have been many a time reading a comic book that I just read all the bubbles probably out of order, and it doesn't matter. It all just forms into words in my head anyway, but it was very helpful to have my handheld and know what order I had to go in. And it was done pretty subtly too, just very small notations to let you know how to read the book. It was fantastic.
Yeah, those are nice. I like how the art style evened out a little bit, just due to, because this had been picked up by Image Comics at the time. The original 4 issues were self-published, so there was more time and more budget involved for the production of these issues. I think it shows a little bit. He's worked his way further into the style that he wants to have. The proportions and like facial shapes and stuff stay more consistent between panels. I really liked that. Just the art in general, it's a nice step up from where it was before without really losing anything at all.
Right.
It just gaining stuff. There's more detail, more emotion, more
There's
color,
a lot of
I would say.
Subtle attention to detail. Like,
yes,
it's not just a beefcake for a boss. It's like part of his arm is rotten through, and another piece of his armor is like so many small things. It's easy to miss. You have to stare at it and be like, that took a lot of time to draw.
Yeah,
Like,
I especially like how that that element or whatever you want to call it applies to the Headlopper himself. Whereas
Yes.
in a lot of bigger panels, he literally is just big beard head, no face, and it's great. But though there's a lot more panels that have close-up work with his face, and you can like see his eye color, and like it's just a lot more. It slows down in terms of panels a lot more frequently, I think, than the first one did. The pacing feels a lot better. There are big panels for action. There's a lot of really tiny panels if there's action, but then there's just the normal kind of medium, like 9 to 12 panels, just regular for like actual emotional beats and dialogue. And it keeps anything from overlapping. I still really love how he draws his dialogue bubbles most of the time. Sometimes it's just a bubble and a single line. It's not like a weird triangle thingy that like points at the person. Sometimes it's just a line. It's nice. Sometimes they're boxes, sometimes they're bubbles. It's really nice. He has a lot of descriptive words for action beats. I don't remember what those are called, but you know, when like someone falls down and it says woof, you know, like that's all over the place, and it's really, really nice. The comedy, go.
It was really nice in the epilogue that they show Headlopper, who I call Headlopper because that's what Colin Man said 2 weeks ago, four weeks ago. Wow. Suck it, Colin. They show him leaving this great journey, and he's touring the world and killing stuff, and then kind of just travels for a long time. And it turns out he went to see what's her name's family to tell them that she had died and give them her necklace or bracelet or something. So very, very solid emotional beat. I'm sure Colin cried.
Probably. I think it definitely hit the emotional beat stronger than the first book. I think definitely. Mostly because the narrative is more cohesive. My bigger complaint with the first story was that it kind of just fell into being a very, very like well-known story trope. That was kind of it. This one has a smaller cast, somehow smaller than the first book, and the emotional through line's a lot stronger. Also because they're little baby men and it's cute. The comedy was excellent. Agatha is an annoying crone as usual. Her calling the baby men boogers was adorable. I have nothing else to say. They're boogers.
My biggest complaint, which is not a very big complaint, was that there was a lot of time spent with the baby men booger smurfs Pikmin thing. I would say more than half the book. It was a lot of time. It did seem like
a little much.
Yeah.
A little bit.
It seemed pretty thin on the Headlopper and heavy on the baby men boogers smurfs Pikmin things. I'm trying to say it all as one word, but we had happy hour first, and that's killing me.
I'm already trashed.
No, it's been a long day.
Yeah. I also do like how it does start off with them just blowing up the ship that they bought at the end of the first book.
Yeah.
You know, just reset the status quo again.
Michael Bay wrote this book, didn't he?
Yeah, a little bit. I think my favorite beat was so the big boss man, big boss nasty zombie robot man is an amalgamation of bits and bobs, and he's operated by a bug. Like that's who he actually is he's just a little bug. And I thought that was hilarious. And then Bick fucking sneezes and sits on him, and that's how he becomes like the lord of the tower by a toddler because he like sat on a bug. It's so funny.
So the dude, driven by the bug, Ratatouille style, climbed onto an arachnotron from Doom, or maybe the final fight in Wild Wild West.
I was thinking more like Darth Maul from Clone Wars when he's in like the sewers, but go on.
If you say so. So yeah, the bug man is a bug, but bigger. Whoa.
Damn, bro.
Symbolism.
Yes. I don't know. I think this is a nice step up. I appreciate it's a little bit thinner The epilogue is still very hefty. The alternate covers gallery is still dummy thick.
Fantastic covers. There is not one that I don't like.
Nope, it's got a really fat sketchbook in the back. This is really nice.
It's
so glad
quality.
I don't know how Colin found this, but I'm very glad he did, and then decided to shove it down my throat very violently because I want to continue reading it.
That's true love right there. Shoving it down your throat violently.
True.
I honestly came away from this book with not too many things to say about it. It's very straightforward. It's quality over quantity, and it's fantastic. There's like nothing to bitch about.
It is always weird when we
really
get to like, it's always kind of weird when we find, when we in particular discuss a story that just doesn't have a lot to it.
Yeah.
I think that's what we really like getting into is like specific stupid questions or whatever. Not nitpicking, but like there's this random hypothetical or whatever. Like that's what we kind of get into versus stuff like this where it's just really good. There isn't a lot to dig into, and that's not a bad thing. It's really evenly crafted. Yeah, I mean, Colin can talk about art any day of the week, and I want to punch him the whole time while also being very enraptured by his magical baby man voice. But like, it's a really cool story. I'm assuming, I believe Colin said that book 3 is really where it ramps up in terms of like lore and stuff, which I'm looking forward to because they've definitely hinted at a lot of interesting stuff. I don't know. Much dig.
When you were talking about what we usually talk about, that was Colin's opportunity to give you crap for nitpicking, because I'm pretty sure that's what you two argued about a couple of weeks ago, but he's not here. Suck it, Colin.
Yeah, he's dumb. He's very R-worded. I don't have any further thoughts on this. I just really liked it. It was a nice step up from the first one.
Will you be purchasing these books? Or
hell yeah. Not yet, but I definitely will. Will you?
Will you get it for full price as it's already released? Wait for hardcover, omnibus? What did
good question. So I haven't looked too far into it. I don't know if the 4th book is the last one. It's the last one that's been published. It got delayed because COVID, like everything.
Suck it, Colin. That's Spencer reacting to Head Lopper Volume 2 being shoved violently down his throat.
I would purchase it at cover price just from Jetpack, like right now. $17 for fuck's sake.
That's cheaper than I figured it would have been.
If the series ends shortly, I don't know if there are any plans to, no clue. And then it does get released as an omnibus fairly soon, like before I purchase the trades. Like a good 30 issues and like a medium-sized omnibus. Absolute mega nut.
Yes,
but I might end up buying them before that happens. And I don't know if there's any plans for it to end. It's a very slow series.
I honestly would have figured it sold for like 25. I'm shocked that it's like closer to 15.
Image books are pretty cheap in my experience.
Yeah.
So speaking of slow, what have you been up to?
I don't see how that transition relates to me.
Jacob, you're retarded.
Oh.
So is our son, Colin. Suck it.
Well.
How is it that Colin is our son, but he's also my male wife?
Ooh, I don't know. That sounds incestual. But going off of the slow transition, that was really good. And I can actually use that. This week, I was on YouTube and I found some random video talking about the history of the cyberpunk genre. I actually sent it to you when I was done.
Haven't gotten to that yet.
There's a lot of history between Spencer and me because he spends his days at work with free internet watching 2.5 hour long YouTube videos about the dumbest things. And he sends them all to me, and it pisses me off because I have 0 cell signal at work and cannot
you still text me all day.
I have to sit there and stare at my phone really, really hard. And after a minute of doing that, it finally sends a text message. That's how shitty my cell signal is. However, I had Sunday off and I was watching this 50-minute long YouTube video. It only took me 7 hours to watch it. That is not an exaggeration. That's just because I'm special and slow and have attention problems. But in this cyberpunk documentary, I guess you could say, they listed an anime as one of the leading, the starting influences on cyberpunk, and I had never heard of it. And it turns out it is free to watch on a probably legal website. So I watched the first episode. I was hoping to watch the whole thing, but this week ended quickly. I watched the first episode of Bubblegum Crisis. The first episode came out in Japan on February 25th of 1987. And if you weebs out there are paying attention, that is 1 full year before Akira came out. Okay. And that's pretty important too, because that's how I would describe this artwork. It was very, very, very close to Akira. Like, very similar art style and quality, I think, in the artwork. The buildings look great. It just had that old school animation feel to it, not a lot of the yucky, gross anime styles that make me cringe inside. I must admit, I fell asleep and went back.
That's because you probably have unironic narcolepsy, though. You fall asleep all the time.
I do. It's 45 minutes long, and this is a freaking TV show, but it felt like a freaking movie. So I went back to where I definitely remembered and finished it the next day. And at the end of it, I was like, I have no idea what the hell just happened. But it was very interesting to look at. It was great. The summary I found online says the Night Sabers are hired to rescue a little girl from a group of kidnappers, but the girl is far more than she seems. The Night Sabers is a group of women with like power armor suits, like Iron Man, kind of, only they're colored differently, so they look like Power Rangers. But they have guns and they blow shit up, which is cool. There's also this one chick that's different, but the same, maybe the leader or something. I don't know. They found the girl, and then there was like this body horror thing, just like the end of Akira, that took over the whole town. I don't know. It was really difficult. I really liked it. I'll probably watch the rest of the series, even though I have no idea what is going on. My biggest complaint about it was that the American dubs were atrocious. They didn't even come close to lining up at any time. There were plenty of shots where the mouths moved and no words were said. That doesn't really bother me, but I don't know. I guess that's just a testament of how good this probably is as a non-weeb. Is if I'm complaining about the English dubs not lining up with the mouths at all. The rest of the animation was great. Suck it, Colin. I wanted to know your thoughts about this TV show, or if you've even heard of it, or how many of the mangas you've read, if there even are mangas. But you're not here, so again, I say suck it. Spencer.
You probably say, "Yeah, of course I've heard of that," and it doesn't elaborate. And that doesn't elaborate any further.
All right. Immediately turns around to his computer and pirates it. Spencer.
That is my name.
Yes. I'm way ahead of the game on Suckets. So this is your opportunity to catch up. What have you done this week?
So unlike Colin, I actually finished Suck It. I finally, after like 6 months, finally finished the new 52 Swamp Thing omnibus.
Yay!
It did like an hour ago.
You're getting the applause sound effect for that.
oh, thank you. I started reading it in August. At least that's what Goodreads is telling me. Okay, so this is the entire New 52 run. It's 40 issues, not 52. What the hell?
Right.
It's stupid. Batman had 52 issues.
We were trying
have you read
to go
this?
the whole episode without saying the B word.
I've already said the B word 3 times. Have you read this?
No, I have not.
Ha.
You stole it away from me. But I'm kind of glad you did, because you've been complaining about so many tie-in things, and I'm going to have to borrow those when I actually read this. So
I don't know where you're getting that from, because that is in fact incorrect. It stands alone very well on its own. There are crossovers. There is in particular an Animal Man crossover with Jeff Lemire's God Tier Animal Man run from the New 52. That was really nice. And there are other characters, not too frequently though. So this is primarily written by Scott Snyder. The last 10 issues or so, maybe 15, are written by Charles Soule. They very clearly had different plans, so that does clash a little bit. I don't know if Scott Snyder was removed from the book. Probably not. He doesn't seem like the guy to get kicked off of anything, so he might have just left. I don't know. So there are some somewhat conflicting plans in terms of tone or whatever, but no like retcons in the series of itself. Most of it was illustrated by Yannick Paquette. There are some other artists for the crossover issues, and then just the occasional random issue is done by somebody else. And Paquette's art is awesome. The one thing I have a serious problem with is, Jacob, you probably know this term, gutter loss.
No.
Oh, you don't know this term. Okay. So when you have, it's one of my personal major pet peeves. Gutter loss is when there is art or text lost to the binding. So if
I hate that.
If the book is either bound too tightly, the image is stretched too far along the page. Like, there need to be wider margins, especially on omnibuses, because the binding is so thick and inflexible. And a lot of people just forget. And that's one of the
even worse when it's a chunky omnibus.
Yeah, it doesn't move. This happens with trades too. That's why I frankly prefer there to be the art itself to be smaller and have bigger margins, just to be on the safe side, so I can at least see it, than have the page be so full and then there's like a quarter of an inch in the binding. It just doesn't look good. Sometimes you'll miss a word. It's like, why would they make it if I can't see it? Because individual issues don't have this problem because they are typically in a magazine style book.
Right.
So this book has a lot of gutter loss. And when it comes to Yannick Paquette's layouts, he has sometimes weird, I described them when I was talking about his Wonder Woman work, but they're just weird panel layouts. There'll be different shapes that don't line up with each other, and they'll be like the panel lines will be like branches or vines or whatever, and it looks cool, and almost always it works. I think the Wonder Woman book did it way too much. I like it here quite a lot, but it's just that in combination with the gutter loss problem makes it really bad. That's a binding problem. That's not a quality of the book. Anyways, this contains a lot of shit. And because it contains two different directions, it doesn't really culminate in one major conclusion.
So it contains a lot of shit. So does Colin Suckett.
Jeez. Yeah, that's why he's got such a fat dump truck.
That's why he can clear a room with one flatulence.
True. So the Snyder stuff, basically, the bigger arc is in the front. This basically involves all of Swamp Thing's characters like ever. So this involves all three factions. So you have the green, which is flora. Blech. You have the red, which is fauna, and then you have the rot, which is the black or just death, So yeah, there are some villains of the red in the beginning, but not anything crazy. The red is control. The Animal Man is not the avatar of the red. Turns out his child is. But the red, it can be kind of good or bad or whatever. Every Swamp Thing book that deals with the three factions, which is all of them, ends up needing to remind you that, hey, the factions themselves or the elements aren't inherently evil. They are supposed to exist in a form of balance. And it's mostly people that the bad avatars or people who follow them that knock the balance out of skew. And that's why, we get weird, funky zombie dog and plant tree man wars. It's weird. So this involves what's his name? Fuck. Arcane is his important name. I don't remember his first name. Anyways, so we have Arcane. We have Abby Arcane, who's his niece. William Arcane, who's her half brother. Animal Man makes an appearance. Technically, the Justice League and the Teen Titans do, but they're not very relevant. That's a whole other thing I won't get into. There's a lot to spoil. It's an entire run. I don't know. It's really good stuff. It's hard not to get into the nitty gritty parts of it because there's just so much to spoil. But effectively, Alec Holland dies again. I know, right? But instead of him being the Avatar and then still having like his human body on the inside, the human body gets killed. So he is exclusively the Avatar of the Green. He's just the Swamp Thing. He has his memories and everything. But the end of the first chunk of the Snyder run ends with his body dying, as well as Abby Arcane, who is now the Avatar of the Rot.
Where would you when human body kill?
Oh my God. Yeah, so their romance is handled pretty well, I think, in this book. Just on the whole, they have some flashbacks. They introduce this cool thing that happened, whereas it's near I'd say the end of the first third. Most of an issue is a flashback in a different art style, because how do you know it's a flashback unless the art style is different? And apparently those two met. Abby Arcane, what's his name? Our big arcane Batman. And Alec Holland met before he was the Swamp Thing. But because of the greater their memories got wiped, basically. But it was something that was actually set up, and it was kind of cool. We see a lot of Arcane wearing human bodies as skins because he's rotting, he's the Avatar of the Rot, so he's kind of like nasty. He has a lot of body wearing. This book is fucking disgusting. Like,
nice. That sells me right there.
So sometimes it's pretty normal and pleasant, and that's why it feels so much weirder when the horror comes out. It's not a huge spoiler. There's a rotling, as they're called, which are like basically zombified people that like serve the Rot. Sometimes they were worshippers of the Rot beforehand, or they'll just be corpses or like whatever. They're these weird, disgusting creatures. And one of them, but for the red, so like it's weird. Animal Man's daughter is like the Avatar of the Red, but she's a child, like a small baby child, 10, maybe 10. So she gets converted and starts following Arcane, even though she's from the Red. She turns into this weird like scorpion monster that's wearing her face, and it is fucking horrifying. It's this massive, like, completely non-humanoid bug insect looking thing covered in blood and entrails. Is disgusting. And it's talking to Animal Man, whose name is Buddy Baker, by the way. It's just funny to say. And it's just trying to talk to him with her face. It's disgusting. And
bye, buddy, hope you find your dad.
Yeah, literally. That's when the horror strikes the strongest, I think, is when it's in contrast. We see flower patches and like meadows, like really nice, pretty stuff. And then there's just this massive eruption of incomprehensible, disgusting death and destruction. I
gotta be honest, that really, really, really makes me more interested, because that's good. What I loved most about the Immortal Hulk run. I really wasn't big on the story or what they were trying to do with the story as far as influencing, but I freaking loved how disgusting it could be. They chop Hulk up into 1,000 pieces and keep him in jars on the shelf, and he's looking and talking through the jars at his captors. And like the Abomination is a freaking suit that people climb in and out of and then freaking puke Hulk killing bile. It's so freaking gross.
Yeah.
That's what I loved about that run. So I'm excited now to get into this series.
Yeah, I strong recommend. The soul direction I enjoyed more, but the conclusion felt kind of chopped off or smushed into the end, like a lot of New 52 books did right at the end, whereas they didn't know how long they were going to be running for before they got a reboot. So they just, a lot of them were really jammed in right then. I mean, even the Batman run kind of felt like that a little bit. Just the last few issues really had to wrap up stuff quickly.
You heard it here, folks. Jam it in right at the end.
True. Don't pull out. Don't be a bitch. Strong recommend. There's some qualms here and there. It's huge. The thing is about as thick as my dick. It's like
it's bigger than that. We all know it.
Oh, shut up. It's as thick as my dick is long. Jeez.
It's as thick as your foot.
Yeah, basically. It's a big book.
Freaking Spencer tennis shoe. That's how big this book is.
It's big, and I like it. There's some stuff I would have done different, whatever. Sometimes the art's a little funky, but the colors are great. The shadow and inking, I think, is really what makes the horror pop. And also, Swamp Thing gets his wings in this book, and it's great. He can fly now, so suck it, Colin. Jacob, what else have you been up to?
A bell rings, Swamp Thing gets his wings.
More like every time an oil billionaire dies, Swamp Thing gets his wings.
That doesn't rhyme, dumbass. Oh, man.
Suck it, Jacob. The fuck have you been doing?
I read the BPRD Plague of Frogs Omnibus or Volume 1. It's kind of not really fair to call it an omnibus because it's still a paperback. It's the same size as the Hellboy omnibuses for our fans that may know those sizes. Mostly written by Colin's true daddy, Mike Mignola. This one is a little bit choppy because, I mean, the foreword flat out says, we were trying to see what we could do with the BPRD after Hellboy had run his course. Mike was working on the very first Hellboy movie with what's his face, Guillermo del Toro.
Yes.
So he was kind of distracted, and there were definitely some open strings left in the Hellboy series, so they wanted to see what they could do exploring those. So there were this book is chopped up into 3 sections, 3 books within a book. So the first book is just the basically applications or not fan art. It's not to that extreme, but it had, talented creators try to do something with BPRD and some of the strings left open from the Hellboy series. So they're stories that stand alone by themselves, trying to get this train going. Book 2, let me check just to verify. Oh yeah, there's also a story in here by Jeff Johns.
Oh shit, my least favorite person in the world.
What? Why?
I swear we go over this every time we talk about Jeff Johns. He's just so fine. Aside from his Green Lantern run, which is god tier, but like he's the status quo guy. He just does everything like fine. and everyone slops it up like it's fucking amazing. Since Flashpoint especially, he's just gone downhill. He's overworked. He's also turned out a piece of shit off the book, so that doesn't help either. Like he just does. He's the guy you call when you don't really want to change anything. Apparently. Just
Okay,
like,
so I was. Sorry, I thought you were done. It's lag, man. I would have had that kill, but the lag got me.
Maybe you just suck.
Shut up! You don't even game. It's your older brother playing for you.
That's me doing anything for Colin.
All right, so I was backwards. Book 1 had Mike Daddy involved quite a bit with writing at the very least. Sometimes he inked something, but the pencils and most of the artwork were done by other people, usually kind of trying to recreate Mike's artwork. Some might say better than Mike, but definitely not going to say that around Colin. Man, suck it. Book 2 has almost no involvement from Mike, no writing, no nothing. And then book 3 kicks off the Plague of Frogs. And holy crap, you would think that it was written by like a televangelist that has been in the business for like 70 years, because these cross references are crazy. Nice. They reference the original Hellboy series so many times in Plague of Frogs, freaking 1 through 5 or something. Like, it felt like multiple references per page. So they worked really hard by the end of this omnibus to really start working with the open ends left in the Hellboy run. And that really, really, really tickled my fancy, because I read most of the books before we covered them, and then obviously reread them when we covered them. And I was like, there's a lot of stuff like unexplained or just hinted at that never went anywhere, that I always just wrote off as like, oh, that's part of the short stories, or they get to that in Hellboy Goes to Hell. Psych. But I was glad to have some closure with this series, and it's just getting started. There are so many BPRD books. Plague of Frogs went on for 8 years. So
damn, bro.
I ordered this from Lex Luthor himself, but I got it at the equivalent of $10. So I'm very happy. The cover price is $20. And I would say if you are a big fan of Hellboy's world and you aren't stuck up like Colin, and it has to be drawn and arted and inked and written by Mike only, then I would say it is easily worth the $20. For Spencer, you can kind of go in between. I think you would like this book. I think you can look past the artwork not being arted by Mike. There might be a short story or two in here that you may not be like absolutely in love with, so maybe $15, but I mean $20 is not a big ask. It just gets to be quite a bit when you're trying to get all the BPRD stuff on your shelf.
I think that was one of the reasons why I avoided it for a while, is because the Abe Sapien and then the 2 different BPRD runs don't collect their editions the same way that the Hellboy ones did. Right. They're working on it, but it's just taking forever. And I was like, no, I don't want to buy it if it's not in the same chunk. Because I don't want to buy it if it's in different sizes. I
do not remember outright how Abe Sapien is in the Hellboy books, but in this one, he's a super salty old bastard. Like
So you're in love.
Yeah. He's just like ready to tell the BPRD to shove it anytime they talk to him. And he's begrudgingly going on different jobs and is not a happy guy. He misses his boyfriend.
Nice.
I honestly think Colin will mostly appreciate this book.
Probably. I would
He's
hope.
probably gonna find like one short story that he's like, that's stupid.
I can't even read it. It's so bad.
The kid is scared of his teddy bear under his bed.
Like Colin can say anything.
Suck it, Colin. Spencer, I'm still up on Suck It, so your turn again. What else did you do?
So I read The United States of Captain America, which is a 2021 5-issue miniseries. So it came out last year. It was written by Christopher Cantwell. It had art by a whole bunch of different people, who's I am too lazy to pull the book over to look at, frankly.
Oost.
The covers were done by Alex Ross, who is
Of course
the GOAT.
When you sent the picture of the book, it looked like the same size as the Hellboy books. Like it looked like it had some girth to it, but
no, it's pretty small.
I'm shocked that it's only 5 issues. It looked huge in the picture.
It's a pretty normal trade size.
Excuse me, sir. It's my bedtime, not yours.
Shut up. The interior art, for the most part, I thought was good. There's most of the issues are done by the same team, and I think there's one that was just different. So there's the main story in the 5 issues, and then each issue introduces a separate Captain America, or the first 4 do. A one of the many Captains America, and it has a short back section where it has one of their stories in a different art style. I really, really appreciated that. Basically, someone steals Cap's shield and yeah, I know, right? And is using it to do terrorism and big dumb stuff.
Wait. Does the person that stole his shield behead people with the shield?
No, that would have been fucking awesome.
Yeah.
No. So they do assorted crimes and blowing stuff up and whatever. So they want to the words. So Cap needs to team up with Sam and Bucky and John Walker, as well as all of the various Captains America they meet along the way, who apparently have their own like underground network of Captains America. None of them have any powers. They're just a bunch of bros just chilling, you know?
Calm down. It's only a ginger ale.
Oh, shit. Yeah, so they need to go on a quest to figure out what the hell's going on. On premise, I was really excited for this book when we talked about it like a while ago. When it got announced, I'm a little disappointed. So, like I said, most of the interior art is good. Frankly, this book's just a lot more goofy than I was expecting, and that's not a bad thing. It's just when you look at like an Alex Ross cover, maybe it's just me. I'm not expecting like early teen fare, if I'm being honest.
Especially when you've got Captain America, Falcon, and John Walker. Like that doesn't sound like a goofy book. That sounds like pretty freaking serious.
Yeah. So I have mixed feelings on that. It might have just been poorly marketed. I appreciate what it is. The thing that really makes it all fall apart at the end is the villain choices are bad. They're dumb and they don't make sense. So I'm just going to spoil it. I don't care. You guys won't probably read it anyways. So the guy who stole the shield itself is Speed Demon, who's a speedster.
I was hoping you would say Patron.
No, that's one of the many problems with this thing is one, Speed Demon is being mind controlled by another character, Sin, who is Red Skull's daughter, who I don't hate that usage, but she's also not the big bad either. It's what was her name? She's another stupid Nazi villain, which obviously no qualms with that. It's more so the themes of the book are about sowing distrust in a symbol, because this book starts off on the best note imaginable from my perspective. The first couple of pages were pure magic. It's Steve literally cleaning and polishing the shield and talking about how America is basically 2 truths and a lie. There are two dreams and one fabrication. So there's Americana, this idea of a time that never has actually existed and we can't like make exist. There's the basically nostalgia bait shit. The not so fun aspects of American history are just ignored. All that fun crap, what shitty people do now these days, they cry about America not be Americana, literally. And then you have what America actually can be, which is the dream. So it's a dream of, can we make it this thing that never existed, but we're going to pretend did, so we can be regressive about it? Or can we work towards the dream of what America can be? Can we live up to the ideals that we set up? We were founded by people who said that they believed X, but they really did Y. They said freedom was for everybody, but they literally owned people. How to reconcile those ideas of, we need to be continuously pursuing the dream of what we can be. And that's what Steve has always done since his inception. And it's, I don't know, it's this really great speech. And it feels very Steve-esque. It's very cool. And the whole book ties into it to an extent of, all of the other Captains America they literally are just, they're all from different minority groups. You have, I don't remember their names because I'm a horrible human being. We have a homeless guy from, I believe, New York, who lives on the trains. He protects a lot of the runaway queer kids who are in the area. We have another one who lives on campus, and she does a lot of the story that she had was protecting and helping one of her friends who had been SA'd and a lot of other stuff. And then we have another one who is a Native American man who lives just living his normal life, but he does repairs for his neighborhood for free whenever possible, and actually helping people. So all of these things all tie together really nicely in terms of actually helping each other and helping different communities grow together. And the fact that sometimes Steve and the other quote unquote real Captain Americas don't always do. They can't always remember to do that. There is no, I don't remember which one of the new captains it was, but they're it's nothing personal against Steve or Bucky or Sam or anything. But when the sky starts falling and you have to go help the Avengers and you're fighting aliens, you start to forget about lead pipes and flooding and stuff like that. That really does impact people, but superheroes don't typically address because it's frankly just not as fun. I really like that. It's hey, it's not a big gripe, but this is just what we're doing. We're going to help our communities using the symbol of, it basically does a Spider-Man in a sense of, we can all be Captain America in a sense. It's a title, it's a mantle, it's an idea. It's not one person. And I really like that because Captain America has always been like that anyways. So making it bigger was cool, but the villains don't make any fucking sense with that idea.
So you started this by saying it's too goofy, and then you extrapolated all of that.
That's the thing, is I didn't have to extrapolate it. It's all there. And for the most part, it's addressed
you explained all of that? You recapped all of that?
Yeah, there are serious topics being discussed, but it's done in a way that, at least for me, this is a really good teenager book, a young teenager. You can be it's not an introduction to these ideas by any means, but it reinforces a lot of really simple ideas, but through very tangible means of, hey, it literally goes, hey, there's this group of people that have problems with this. There's this group of people that can have problems with this. This is maybe a way we can help them. Some people can do this, whatever. It points very clearly in good directions, but it doesn't, I don't know, it's not some magically dark and gritty book. And I might have just walked in with the wrong set of expectations. And that might all just be based off of a cover. I don't know. It ends up being a nice book about having unity between people, because the point of the bad guys' plan is to villainize all of the different Captains America and sully the shield and the idea and make, draw lines and make people angry and not trust anybody, so then they can do mind control. And it's you had me in the first half, and I get that tracks with you're weakening the mind state and whatever, and then the mind control kind of makes sense, but that's really where it made me go, this is stupid.
For the people who can't see our video call because this is an auditory podcast, I made a rude gesture as soon as Spencer said mind control because that is a very dumb cop-out. So
it is. It just, and from where I'm sitting, you wouldn't need to do that anyways. Like, you can make people tear themselves apart regardless. And that's what I think I don't know if this could have just been written like this. I don't know. Maybe there could have been some interference. Maybe some editor was like, yo, this is a lot. We should probably tone it down and make it a little goofy. Maybe, I don't know. I don't care. But the villain choices were bad. And then there's also this, I don't remember his name, but there's literally like the consciousness of Adolf Hitler, basically. It's weird and goofy, and that I do like. It's like the evil his presence leached off, like reconstituted itself as like a amorphous blob that has to get contained because it'll like possess people. It's really weird, and I didn't even hate that idea, but just the way that it all fits together at the end just doesn't track. It's real weird, but the interactions between all of the captains are really, really nice. The art for the most part is good. It's fun. The action's good. It's just, it's a conflicted book, I think.
So I have a couple of things. Recommended price, and what did you get it at?
I bought it for cover price, which I believe was about 20, maybe 25. They're not normal sized issues. When Marvel does a mini series or a maxi series, they're usually bigger. So it's not like a
bigger as in 50 pages.
I don't know, like 65, 70. I don't know. Right. Just if you have like a normal, like an ongoing run, and you look at those trades on a shelf versus the bigger collected editions of a mini series or whatever, the issues themselves are not the same size for sure. I don't have a page count on that.
So if they are 70, that's 350 pages.
Something like that. I don't know. It was a good sized book. I read it in maybe an hour and a half. I certainly enjoyed it. I enjoyed the commentary. I liked the back and forth. I'd recommend it for basically anyone who does like Captain America. It was just, you got to fix your expectations first, because otherwise you're going to be like me and go, yeah, oh shit. Just you go in and it's great, and then just starts dropping immediately.
How, obviously Alex Ross did the covers, but how was the rest of the artwork? I might have missed it.
It's good. There's nothing terribly special. It's really bright. No issue with that itself. It's just
bright as in like the remastered, retouched up, redigitized.
No, not
comics
that.
Like
not
that.
Not that bad. By no means. Just very bright. There's not a lot of shadow. It's all during the daytime, or almost all in the daytime. I don't know. The general presentation was a lot more child-friendly than I was expecting. And that's not a quality problem of the book. It's more an issue of my expectations. I'd recommend it for anyone for like, if you're vaguely interested, get it on like a basic sale, I don't know, like $15 or whatever. But if you're like, if you see it for like $5 to $10, like pick it the hell up. It's worth it. I enjoyed it. It just, I didn't get what I was expecting.
You wanted your dark and gritty Captain America.
See, this the thing is, I really shouldn't have expected that, because when we discussed it and they announced it, we knew the artists involved. They had discussed the new captains already. They're like, yeah, the first one is like some 19-year-old gay kid who lives on a train. I should have known this was going to be silly. And that's fine. It was just, I forgot. I don't know. I'm dumb.
You should have assumed this was silly because there's a 19-year-old gay kid?
Probably. I don't know. I don't know. Make me sound homophobic. It's not hard. I don't know. It approaches things in a way that I wasn't expecting.
My
moving
last
on.
Point.
Yeah. What else you got?
Right before you started this call, I was doing some research into a really complex topic. It's so high up there. I'm gonna have to dumb it down for you. It's the South Park movie that came out in 1998, I believe. And apparently, free piece of trivia for you. They won the Oscar for Best Original Song in 1999, and they had Robin Williams perform it at the Oscars. And that song was Blame Canada. So, ladies and gentlemen,
True.
that is the extent of my nationalism or racism, depending on how you look at it. Thank you to our patrons.
Our patrons, Dave, Jeff Lawrence, and Wesley Eaton, cool, simpy boys, girls, and NBs. Love them. Give us money. They make sure that we have lights, camera, and action. But we don't keep the lights on while we do the action part of life, because then I'd have to see all of the shit that Colin's full of. And I don't want to see that.
Wesley Eaton's payment this month said if Colin skips a week, he doesn't get paid. So suck it, Colin.
True. Colin doesn't get paid anyways. Don't tell him that we make money. I keep it all to myself.
If you enjoyed this episode and if you kept count on how many times we said suck it, Colin, and if you know who's the winner is,
it's clearly you.
To patreon.com/dimecomicbros and sign up. We have 3 different tiers. We believe that they are affordable, but we are also broke bros and don't have a lot of money, and we don't blame you if you don't sign up. So
we will judge you, though.
No, that is not a fact. Spencer
I will judge you. I will judge you. Yeah, you can get all sorts of stuff. We'll say your name. I know, crazy, right?
More importantly, you get stickers.
Lots of stickers, all designed by Colin. You also
honestly, that's why I'm part of the show,
is
because I want the stickers.
That's you do this entire podcast just so you have dope ass fucking stickers to put on your hard hat.
Yeah.
Nerd.
Actually, I don't have one on my hard hat.
The hell, dude? I've been doing this for 2 years now.
Yeah, I don't want people at work playing my noise at work.
Yeah, that's fair. I hand out my business cards at work. I have a problem.
Of course you do.
Well, my boss and my boss's boss are nerds, so it helps. Anyways.
That is good.
Yeah, go check us out on Twitter and Instagram as well for updates, previews, sneak peeks, memes, shit posting, whatever.
We also forgot to mention that patrons have special access to our other show, our after show, our cool down time, you may
or
say.
The ramp up, depending on what time of day it is.
Happy hour, which is where we usually crack a beer or a coffee if it's a Saturday morning and it's too early to start our daytime drinking.
You're implying I don't have whiskey in my coffee.
Oof. And we just talk about anything that comes to mind. It has nothing to do with comics, but sometimes it still relates to comics, and you really have no idea what to expect.
It's mostly talking about Colin's butt.
It's interesting to listen to most weeks.
You know what else is interesting?
Jetpack Comics and Games in downtown Rochester, New Hampshire.
I was going to say Colin's butt, but that also does apply.
Suck it, Colin.
He is not... He is in fact not flexible enough to suck his own dick, I would think. Something tells me that's not a thing.
You should talk about Jetpack Comics and Games in downtown Rochester, New Hampshire.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, our partners over at Jetpack Comics and Games in downtown Rochester, New Hampshire, they have all the stuff you would think. They're a nerd shop. They're a comic shop. They have books. They got games. They got D&D. They got figurines. They probably got Warhammer stuff. I don't know Warhammer.
I kind of wish I had enough money in the world to be into Warhammer. It seems like something I could live in.
They got plushies. They got some replica stuff, statues, all sorts of fun stuff. Go tell them that we sent you, slap the poster on the way in for good luck. Take a photo with Batman and take a photo with our stickers on their door. Thank you, and stuff. I don't know what else to say because I say this every fucking week. Also check out our other podcast, Dime Gaming Bros, which is available on the same places wherever you'd be listening to this podcast, on all audio platforms, as well as YouTube, where Jacob and I do this podcast, but about games, basically.
And also we do the news every show, which is different from this show.
Yes, but not like it used to be. Thank God. It's so incredible how many times we've changed format, but this last one is like actually really good.
It's actually working, and it's actually Colin's idea.
I know.
I don't care. He can still suck it.
Yeah, so it's a once a month podcast. It gets posted the first Monday of the month, where Jacob and I talk about a couple of video games. We deliver some reviews. We talk about news in the tech and gaming worlds. And just because I can say it now, Moving forward, we are going to be reviewing a movie based on a video game property every month moving forward. So if anything new is coming out, we'll be discussing that in the month that it came out. If not, we'll find something else to fill the time. There's lots and lots of shitty video game movies out there, that's for sure. So tune in for that. It gets long and very drawn out and very grindy, you know?
You're supposed to be selling them on this show, not telling them it's long and boring.
Long, boring, and grindy. That applies to most of the gaming market. They'll love it.
True
all the
story.
Destiny players, all the Fortnite players.
Ass Creed.
Oh, yeah, all the Ass Creed simps that are still playing that franchise from the Rape Company. Yeah, all that fun stuff. Just mega, mega cringe. But go check out our podcast. It's not mega cringe. It is a little cringe sometimes. Next week, hopefully all three of us will be going over the news. So exciting. And we still don't have a current TV show to be watching for another month. That's great.
Crazy.
It's kind of nice, actually, having a little bit of a break.
It is. Only because I finished Lopper Volume 2 like 5 minutes before we started recording this.
Nice.
It's like I can actually do other things with my life for a minute.
Yep. So thanks for listening. Give us positive internet interaction on your various platforms of choice, please.
And stay tuned to the end of the episode for the goofs. Bye.
We are the goofs, my good sir.
You ruined the salutation.
No, I made it better. I corrected you, fellow retard.
The sound of Spencer trying to stand up sounded like tortoises doing the do. I will include that in post.
That was good.